87, crack money was ghetto heaven. Niggas getting it. Every block rocks to perfection. Green.
Lunch break, special herbs, fries and a sandwich. Unleashed on the city, maximize damage. Onlookers all famished. These guys is outlandish.
He ain't have his gun on him, he a dum-dum. What kind of gun he got hit with? A little something. Pull up on him, watch his face and watch him run. Drive a man like, why you do that, man? A little fun. She suck my dick and swallow nut just for a $100. I'm mixing purple with the yellow, call me Brum. All these rappers sounding like my kids, I call them son. We bringing rappers to the rack, just bring your gun. We caught the last one we want, ain't gotta find them no more.
This might be one of the most controversial videos I have ever made regarding hip-hop. From talking about some of my favorite artists to those who have fallen off, there is a topic that has plagued the community for a while. One of the most controversial opinions on hip-hop is that it is a dying genre. People have said that hip-hop has gotten progressively worse over time. Hip-hop isn't the same, which has led to disrespect of the genre. I honestly think this is a complex issue that does not have a true right or wrong answer. In today's video, I will be discussing how Gen Z ruined hip-hop. Yep, you thought I wouldn't blame all the issues with hip-hop on Gen Z? Well, you are wrong. Focusing on the 80s to 90s, early 2000s to 2010s, and finally 2010s to the current day. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and leave a like.
Yo, 13, I was a thug, selling drugs. Many people thought I flipped my wig, sorta bug.
Most old heads will tell you that the late 80s to 90s is the greatest era of hip hop, and they are not completely wrong. While I do think this take is primarily due to nostalgia, I do think this era was the purest form of hip hop there is. Hip hop during this era was strictly about the music and not extracurriculars like we see now in hip hop. Without social media being the main marketing point of the artist, they had to have motion in the streets, and radio play was essential for success. Hip-hop back in this era was the most hated and disrespected in my opinion. People were saying it was garbage and this hippity hop shit was not real music because of how different it was. However, this was the anthem for many people who were born into poverty or the hood because the music was relatable. Hip-hop was the representation of what the black community was going through during the time. NWA rapping about the hood and how the police were causing issues in black and brown communities, Jay-Z rapping about criminal activities in business, and the start to coast beef with Pac and Big. Many artists from this era have continued to maintain relevance and importance to hip-hop today. Tupac, Biggie, Ice Cube, Snoop, Nas, etc. were the blueprints of hip-hop, and one artist actually has an album series known as The Blueprint. As a Gen Zer, whenever I go back to listen to old hip-hop, I feel the rawness and drive that people had for the genre. It wasn't something people were doing just for a short period of time to get popularity and then venture off to other businesses, which is the most common practice for those who started rapping in the modern 2020s. However, I'm going to jump into a couple of artists from the 80s and 90s which stamped hip-hop forever. Jay-Z, aka Sean Corey Carter, is one of the most popular rap artists of all time. A person who I believe pioneered hip-hop. Yes, without Jay-Z, I do not think hip-hop is where it would be today. Jay-Z is an artist from New York who talked about the grittiness of the streets and how to treat yourself as a business to survive. His music has aged incredibly well, and some of the younger generation would not be able to appreciate Jay-Z because they cannot relate to that era. Frankly, kids who grew up on Xbox Ones, PS4s, and not playing outside with the neighbors are not going to be able to relate. Jay-Z's music is what I would consider a hustler's Bible because of the game that was delivered in his raps. There are so many songs that would make the top 5 for Jay-Z, but my top 5 that I recommend to those who have never heard of Jay-Z are the following: Dead Presidents, Song Cry, Moment of Clarity, Encore, and Blueprint. Another artist from the 90s who influenced hip-hop today is Tupac. Tupac Shakur, aka Tupac, aka Machiavelli, born in East Harlem, New York, quickly became the face of rap. The bald-headed, gang-banging, and conventionally handsome man took over the West Coast and the rap game. Outside of being a rapper, he was an actor and political activist. The music that Tupac made reflected on his morals and values. Besides having insane raw talent and potential, he was able to put the West Coast on his back. With his most popular songs, California Love, Ambitions as a Writer, Hit 'Em Up, and All Eyes on Me. There is a reason why Tupac is in the conversation of the big 3 of rappers, and the music speaks why. What made Pac so important to hip-hop is how the lyrics matched the lifestyle that he lived. Many people have come out to say that Pac actually lied in his raps and lived a privileged life as a kid. Some of his credibility is lost due to him being an actor, etc. But him beating AKs from shooting 2 cops is impressive. Unfortunately, we know about Tupac getting gunned down due to the beef he had with Biggie Smalls. Of course, there are speculations, conspiracy theories, and missing truth regarding who killed Pac. Some people say it was Diddy who set both of them up, but we will never know. Tupac's popularity in the hip-hop world is something that would never be replicated in my opinion. The third artist who influenced this era is Biggie Smalls. Biggie Smalls is an interesting case because while his influence is undeniable, I did not find him to be the best rapper during that time. Due to the beef he had with Tupac, it brought him a lot of fame. Being signed to Bad Boys Entertainment and being friends with Diddy also did numbers for him. For those who may not be familiar with Biggie's music, here are a couple of songs I can recommend. Who Shot You, Juicy, Hypnotize, and Give Me the Loot. Biggie's voice and instrumental choice is truly impeccable. However, Biggie definitely has some suspicious bars, but what rapper doesn't have questionable bars? I raised my eyebrows when Biggie said, "You look so good, I suck on your daddy's dick." Now Biggie, I'm not sure if that was considered Riz back in the day, but that is absolutely diabolical to say, big fella. There are many other artists who I know I am skimming over, including NWA, Wu-Tang, Tribe Called Quest, and more, but they all played an important role in this era of hip hop.
Many men wish to acquire fame for the wrong reasons. Fans telling me never change, but it's hard to fight the seasons.
The early 2000s and 2010s is an era that is most respected by Gen Z adults. There are so many artists who shaped this era, and I'm going to try my best to bring up artists who were positive and negative. Some of those artists include Young Money, Cash Money, Billionaires, MF Doom, Jay Dilla, Manny Fresh, Wiz Khalifa, Busta Rhymes, Waka Flocka, Gucci Mane, Eminem, Bugzey, Miss Elliott, and many more. As a part of the Gen Z adults, it depended a lot on where you heard your first rap song or album. For many people, it could be from their parents or you heard a song on the radio that stuck out to you. I made a video talking about how MF Doom, Jay Dilla, and Nujabes changed the rap game, and I recommend that video for those who haven't seen it yet. The early 2000s and 2010s introduced new styles of music that were yet to be seen. Coming from the Atlanta scene, it was trap music, which was popularized by Gucci Mane. While people do not see Gucci as a very good artist, he was paramount in the creation of trap music. Later on, Future became the next artist who did amazing trap music out of Atlanta. We also cannot forget about Ludacris and Andre 3K, who also come from Atlanta. Gen Z was able to dive into other genres of hip hop that were not from their predecessors. Of course, Jay-Z, Nas were still well known and produced amazing projects during this timeline. Some of the genres of hip hop we saw are boom bap, auto-tune, trap, New York style, and many more. That is one of the positives that have come along from this era of hip hop. A couple of albums that were so critical during the early 2000s are Supreme Clientele, Mad Villainy, The Carter 2, College Dropout, and Marshall Mathers LP. One rapper who is a double-edged sword, which has been a positive and negative to hip hop, is Lil Wayne. This hurts to say because I am a Lil Wayne fan, but as I've gotten older, I see the damage he has done. For Gen Z, during the Wayne era, most of us were 10 to 13 years old, and it quickly became popular for us. One of the things that Wayne did was create a new sound and culture. The auto-tune, bait, locks, and lean became the staple of who Lil Wayne was. Looking back at the 08 to 12 era, that Wayne was a 10 out of 10 for us Gen Z people. And I know somebody's gonna say T-Pain started the auto-tune stuff. While he did do that, we are talking about Lil Wayne. A bar that flew over many people's head comes from 6 foot, 7 foot. The popular bar being I distinctly remember hearing that bar and thought nothing of it because of how catchy the song was. Then deadass years later, I heard the song again and it clicked. I don't want to hear anyone in the comment section say, "Nah, Nick,
nice person.
You just slow." We all knew what it was back then. First of all, no you didn't. Most of y'all could not read and still can barely read past a 6th grade education. Now, how does this tie into Gen Z ruining hip hop? Lil Wayne becoming one of the most popular rappers during the most influential age for Gen Z, it brought a lot of fans. Many people became fans of Lil Wayne's voice, punchlines, and overall swag that he had. Lil Wayne has influenced so many artists, and many Gen Z adults have grown to enjoy those artists. Some of those artists include Young Thug, Playboi Carti, and even Lil Uzi Vert. However, if you look at the music that Wayne created, it was well...
What the fuck was that? I ain't snuffing up against, but you could get snuffed out the jungle. Talking military is irrelevant. One gun does that. What gun does that? Brother, this beat is fucking horrible. Boy, if you don't get this Super Nintendo loading screen, beat the fuck out of here.
Hip hop is a lot more than just punchlines and witty phrases, but the story that comes along with it. What is the rapper talking about? What makes their music special compared to others? Lil Wayne rapped about absolutely nothing, but made it sound good, which is a talent. This is not me saying that Lil Wayne is a bad rapper. It's just that he is not the GOAT and rapped about nothing. There was no story for Lil Wayne to tell because he was a millionaire by age 11. That's why someone like prime Kanye West is so influential to the world of hip hop. While current Kanye is someone to not be proud of, the College Dropout and Late Registration inspired a generation.
Smoke good and your bitch think I'm bad news. About to go nuts, nigga, cashews. Promoter asked me if I'm booked, I say I'm past due.
The 2010s to the current age of hip hop is a double-edged sword. I think some of the best hip hop has been made through lifestyle hip hop, but some of the worst music has been made. One of the things I dislike about hip hop now is how most new rappers want to be content creators and entertainers. I look at a lot of rappers who are out now, and most of them make songs that go viral on social media, but not stand the test of time regarding hip hop. Many people who rap now do it for fun to grow on social media and move into other ventures. A couple of examples are Ian, Ice Spice, Ruby Rose, and Sweetie. Ian is a suburban white boy who rapped over trap beats and sounded like Gucci Mane, which many people did not like because the music did not feel authentic and almost a mockery of Gucci. Tyler, the creator, spoke out about it, and some agree while others disagree. The four artists who I've mentioned before are not trying to create any amazing hip-hop projects or doing this like their livelihoods depend on it. They are rapping because it was fun, which takes away from the art form. Also, as of recent news regarding Sweetie, she may or may not be an alleged escort. Rappers from the 80s to 2010s were rapping because it was their ticket out the hood and poverty. Now, modern day rappers are doing it because it is fun and a way to make a lot of money if you make it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on the fact they are making money. I just like the fact that the hunger is not there anymore because of the gateway to other avenues. Let's talk positively about some of the artists who benefited this era of music. Larry June, Lil Uzi, A Boogie with the Hoodie, Chief Keef, Childish Gambino, Future, Logic, Tyler the Creator, Nipsey Hussle, and Kendrick Lamar. Of course, I have to throw in Schoolboy Q because he's just legendary. I put all these artists in a list of the positive side of this era because of the impact they left within hip hop and outside of hip hop. Many of these creators can go without needing an explanation, like Tyler the Creator, Chief Keef, Future, and Nipsey Hussle. In fact, I want to talk about Chief Keef because I feel that he is one of the most impactful hip hop artists of this generation. Chief Keef, at 16 years old, inspired a generation and created a whole new wave. Mind you, he was 16 years old when he dropped Finally Rich 2 and was the face of Chicago hip hop. Most importantly, he was able to thrive in Chicago and get out before it got more violent. Many of these hip hop artists have a story that is inspiring to the young generation, and that's why they are loved and appreciated. For those who don't know, Larry June and Nipsey Hussle were the inspirations for how I conduct business and changed my mentality. Nipsey Hussle, may he rest in peace, is the blueprint for a lot of people who wanted to become more business-minded and entrepreneurial. Larry June also raps about the importance of ownership, staying healthy, being a good parent, and even subtle flexing of uncommon things in life. Also coming from a rag to riches story, people have looked up to Larry June and changed their mindset and mentality because of the music. The beginning of Gen Z ruining hip hop began when it became commercialized. In the 90s to the early 2000s, hip hop was the genre of music that was not brand safe. Most companies wouldn't work with a rapper within a 10-foot pole. However, with the amount of money that started coming into the hip hop space, investors and businesses knew it would be foolish not to jump in. Many of these executives and investors at these record labels do not like hip hop. They just like the money that comes in because of hip hop. Ideally, the record labels want to generate as much profit as they can, and which demographic of people are going to pay for concert tickets and albums? Suburban white people. The reason why I mention suburban white people is because they will typically spend money on albums and go to concerts because they can afford it. There's a reason why Taylor Swift is the Beyonce for white women, even though she is extremely overrated and mid. This ties into the rise of YMCMB being a positive but also a negative. Negative because this was a major commercialization of rappers and the suburban white community fell in love. They fell in love with Drake, Lil Wayne, and Nicki Minaj. With Drake being the artist who continued to gain new fans every day, he and his team knew how to grow at an accelerated rate, make viral songs for the suburban community. For those who remember when God's Plan came out in 2016, it hit the white community like crack in the 80s. In fact, 2016 is a year where a lot of hip hop started becoming very popular for that demographic, which will lead to the downfall of hip hop. You see, Drake was a rapper, but he wasn't the stereotypical rapper that most suburban white kids or parents would stay away from. Same thing with Travis Scott. He made the rage hip hop, which brought in the same demographic, which allowed his rise to fame. Since 2016, the definition of what hip hop was is continuing to get watered down. Now in the big 2025, almost every rap artist has been able to commercialize themselves as long as they play the game correctly or work with brands who respect their image, which again is not a bad thing, and I will never hate on people making money. It just shows how different things are now compared to 20 years ago. Let's talk about the boogeyman, Kendrick Lamar, and how his 2024 run somewhat revived hip hop. 2024 was a very good year for rap because it was about the music. With the double album from Future along with Kendrick's verse addressing Drake, we knew something big was brewing. The Future album was the beginning of what would be a series of diss tracks towards Drake. Kendrick had 3 disses with the Knockout Punch Me Not Like Us, and even Rick Ross jumped on a singular diss track. While the Rose diss track went under the radar, people were extremely surprised regarding Kendrick. This wasn't due to people being surprised Kendrick could rap, but the fact he was dropping diss tracks so frequently. Given how Kendrick did not drop music consistently, and now he was dropping back-to-back tracks. Not Like Us was the diss track that blew up because of the pedo allegations towards Drake and his crew. The song was very popular everywhere, and there was no way Drake wasn't bothered by it. This was the most talked about diss track in years and considered one of the best diss tracks of the decade. Kendrick Lamar was everywhere, and even ended up performing at the Super Bowl. His Super Bowl performance was very important to hip hop because the focus was not on him. It wasn't on the fact he bodied Drake, was the hottest artist of 2024, or any accolades towards himself. It was regarding the political nature of this country. Kendrick having an amazing message on the biggest night of the year is what hip hop is about. Hip hop has always been about spreading a message toward the listeners, and that's exactly what Kendrick did. While there were some people who did not like the performance he gave, the smart people saw the bigger picture. This year was the closest hip hop has ever been to his rawest form. Let's wrap up the video. Gen Z is starting to ruin hip hop, and it is our fault. The double-edged sword of commercializing hip hop brought in a lot of money and opportunities for new artists, but it's changed the meaning of what hip hop is. There are so many Gen Zers who can't name the members of NWA, Wu-Tang Clan, or even know who Jay Dilla or the Conductor is. The origins and roots of hip hop have become a non-important factor in the modern day hip hop era. The people who paved the way for hip hop are being erased from existence because people no longer care about hip hop. It's a cool little genre for a good majority of people, while some of us love it way more because it impacts our lives. A decent amount of Gen Zers don't even care what artists come on the radio or even truly have favorites. They just like whatever sounds good. Hence why so many people will put Drake, Travis Scott, 21 Savage, and M in their top 4. This is the PWI white girl top rappers. Unfortunately, some demographics of people only use hip hop to get into spaces where they normally would not be able to get into. That might be a little woke for this video, but I'll yap about it on the Patreon. Let me know in the comment section, do you think Gen Z ruined hip hop, or was it ruined before then? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and comment and subscribe. Sub to the Patreon if you'd like to support me more, and follow me on Instagram. I'll see you later, Space Cowboy.